Good evening, everyone. It's Ace. We're going to run through the Sorare MLB cheat sheet for Game Week 6. I know it's late at night, but we've got that early lock because of Patriots Day. So I wanted to make sure we were able to jump on and at least try to provide something. It seems like we're getting a lot of response from the cheat sheet. So hopefully it's helping. I understand that this window is really tight. So most of you, if you're on the West Coast, have probably already set your starters. If you are on the East Coast, you're going to wake up with enough time to be able to get your starters, maybe even get your rewards. So we'll see how that goes. And if you are not in the U.S., then you're probably able to watch this before lock, and you'll have plenty of opportunity to make any adjustments. So I'm going to try to jump in here, get everything done in about 12 to 15 minutes. And if we have any questions from the gallery at that point, I'll go ahead and take them. I see Nano's in here. What's up, Nano? Good to see you, man. I've got a different position here on the mic. So you guys are going to have to give me some feedback if it sounds okay. Okay, so let's jump right in. Now, if you have not watched any of the cheat sheet videos before, what I do is I go on to the Fantasy Pros website and I look at the matchups each game week for each Sorare game week to try to find the best matchups for your hitters versus soft pitching. And then what I do is I put that into this chart. And the chart starts off from 1 to 5, 1 being the easiest matchup, 5 being the hardest matchup. And you'll notice the green highlights. The green highlights mean that the team is going to play 4 games. They're scheduled to play 4 games that week. So if you obviously can plug in a 4-gamer, that's always a win. So anyway, if you have any other questions, you guys will also see I've got my notes here in terms of any hard matchups, and I'll touch on those briefly. So let's start off in the left-hand column. I don't go top to bottom. I go left to right. So easiest matchups this week, the Dodgers have an extremely easy matchup against the Washington Nationals. 3 killer matchups. They do have 2 lefties, which means Will Smith, if he were to play all 3 games, is fantastic. Mookie Betts is fantastic. You're still going to play Shohei and Freeman either way. Muncie's probably a bit of a fringe guy just because there's 2 lefties. Teo is a definite start with 2 lefties. But the Dodgers have a fantastic matchup. They are, if you have a Dodger stack, I understand it's not a 4-gamer, but because they have such a good matchup, those 3 games should play like 4 games as long as Dave Roberts doesn't get cute and bench anybody. The Mets have a great matchup against Pittsburgh as well. Pete Alonso's been on fire. He's obviously going to be your guy in there. They're facing 2 lefties. That's positive for him as well. The Phillies have a fantastic matchup against the Rockies. We do understand the Rockies pitching, not great. They're going to go into Philly. Philly should be able to tee off Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, your fringe guys like Stott, Baum. Hopefully even Schwarber can heat up a little bit. San Francisco is your only 4-gamer with the soft matchup. It doesn't really mean a lot. Matt Chapman could be a solid start. Estrada could be a decent start. Those are fringe guys, though. I wouldn't necessarily run a giant stack. But if you've got a pick and a pop guy here and there in a pinch with this matchup in 4 games, it looks pretty good. Okay, column 2. Column 2 is where the tasty matchups are. Atlanta's got 2 tasty matchups against Houston. We understand Houston right now is having trouble pitching. And, well, Atlanta is as well. So Houston goes from playing home run derby against the Rangers to playing home run derby against the Braves. That could be a really fun matchup. It's only 3 games, but it could play like it's 4 with Atlanta visiting Houston. You got to love your right-handed hitters with the short porch in Houston as well. So Acuna, Riley, you don't have any lefties that you're facing, which benefits Olsen and it benefits Albies hitting from the left-hand side. Boston has a great stack this week. It's a 4-gamer. They're playing Cleveland. Bibby is the best starter that's going to be in play for Cleveland. But Boston does have a great matchup this week from a 4-banger standpoint. White Sox have a great matchup, but obviously they just don't hit. So that's going to be a problem. They are going to face Lugo and Waka. You just don't have a lot of guys outside of maybe Andrew Vaughn that you're going to start there, and even then's a fringe. I feel like most weeks, Chicago playing in the AL Central is going to be a solid start. They just don't have any guys, unfortunately. Detroit is going to have 4 games against Texas. Pretty good matchups. Texas has trouble pitching. Evaldi went today. Bradford is off to a great start, but he's on the IL right now. So Detroit looks like a solid start. Torque could be heating up a little bit, so we'll have to see how Torque plays out. Kansas City's got a great matchup. It's only a 3-gamer, but it's a good matchup against the White Sox. They do have Crochet, and I talked about, I wanted to see 5 to 7 solid starts out of Crochet. He got roughed up a little bit last start. That's okay. Kansas City is a very young team, and they're going to be very hit or miss. We're going to get used to seeing that all season long. Still, and Salvi got banged up. But, I mean, if you have Witt, you're always going to play Witt. St. Louis has a great matchup this week. Nootbaar's back. Gorman has not yet really got it going yet. I do worry about guys like Goldschmidt and Arenado just because Father Time is catching up with them a little bit. They're at Oakland. It is not the best hitter-friendly ballpark, but they do have good pitching matchups. So if you have Nootbaar, if you have Gorman, Arenado, I would say they're all kind of fringe guys, even with the matchup. Okay, so now we're going to get into column 3. Now we're going to start seeing much better pitching in column 3. The Diamondbacks they've got a 4-gamer, which is great. The last game of the 4-gamer is going to be against Logan Webb. Otherwise, they're only facing one lefty, and they're facing the Chicago Cubs back in Arizona. So it should be a good matchup for the Diamondbacks. The Cubs, obviously going to be facing the Diamondbacks. They've got a 4-gamer as well. They're going to be facing Merrill Kelly in the first game of the game week. Otherwise, some unproven pitching for the Diamondbacks going up against the Cubs. And we all know the Cubs can hit. So if they get it rolling, they can really put up a lot of runs really fast. Cleveland's got a 4-banger this week. They're in Boston. They're not facing any right-handed pitching, which means Jose Ramirez is a fantastic start. Josh Naylor is a fantastic start as well. Houston, they're facing Fried, but Fried has not been great. So I still think you're going to see home run derby. I talked about that in the last column. Atlanta, Houston, home run derby this week. I think Houston's going to they're going to pop. There's only 3 games though, but I think they'll perform as well as most of the 4-gamers. So Altuve, Bregman, Tucker, Alvarez, and the Houston offense is off to a great start already. Miami's going up against San Fran. They're actually just going to miss Webb because Webb is going to start the first game of the Diamondback series on Thursday. You got 2 lefties, so you want to go with Chaz. You could go with Berger. Berger's probably a solid start against 2 lefties as well. Minnesota's facing Baltimore. It's only 3 games, and they're facing Rodriguez. So I don't love Minnesota. I know Juliet's gotten hot, but I don't love a lot going on in Minnesota. Pittsburgh's been playing really good ball. They're going to New York to face the Mets, pitcher's ballpark, but they've been playing well. They're facing one lefty. Fringe starts, same thing. Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz, fringe starts for Pittsburgh. San Diego's going to go to Milwaukee, so they had to play the late game today, and then they've got to travel and go to Milwaukee. Machado's hot right now. He's starting to see the ball. He started off terrible. Last game of the home series, he started hitting the ball. He started hitting the ball in LA. He's going to go to Milwaukee. Ballpark plays favorable. I think Machado's solid. Tatis is solid. Bogarts is ice cold right now. They are going to face Peralta in the last game of that series. Just keep that in mind. Seattle is basically Julio, who got the day off today and then was thrown into pinch run and got picked off for the last out of the game. Not a great look, but they're going to face Cincinnati in Seattle, pitcher's ballpark. They're going to face Hunter Green in one of those games. I don't really love a lot going on with Seattle. It's tough to bench Julio, but it seems like he might be one of those guys who just doesn't heat up until the weather does. Texas has a great bang for your buck. Great four-banger this week. They're going up at Detroit, Pitchers Ballpark. Got to face Skubal. He's the only lefty that they're going to face. So I still love Corey Seager. Dulles looks good. Evan Carter's heating up as well. Toronto is going to be playing the Yankees at home. Decent start if you want to throw in. There's no lefties, so you can't really feast like Vlad. Bo's going to get his hits as well, but nothing overly exciting. Column 4, Baltimore only has 3 games. They're facing Lopez, so I really don't love a lot going on with Baltimore. Cincinnati is going to face 2 top 20 pitchers out of their 3 starts. So I do not love what's going on in Cincinnati. They're going to face Kirby, Gilbert, and Miller in those 3 starts. Colorado is going to be on the road at Philly. One of those starts is against Nola. Don't really love anybody from Colorado this week in terms of like Nolan Jones or Tovar. Probably going to sit those guys. Oakland, you probably have Geloff if you have anybody from Oakland. St. Louis's pitching isn't great, but they are going to throw Gray. He was fantastic his first start out. Coming back from rehab. Tampa Bay has a tough matchup. They're playing the Angels again, and the Angels gave them a bit of a hard time. Detmers threw extremely well against Tampa Bay. Let's see if they're able to make adjustments. But they do have a 4-banger this week. I just don't really love love those matchups a lot for Tampa Bay. Last column, hard column. These are guys you're likely to avoid. The Angels have a really tough matchup. I know they've got 4 games. But they're facing some stud pitching. It's going to start off against Erlin. They hit Erlin well the first time. Don't know that that's going to be a thing. He's a seasoned pitcher. He's going to make adjustments. Milwaukee is going to face San Diego. San Diego is going to throw Musgrove, who's been very hit or miss. Dylan Cease, who's looked fantastic, and Michael King, who's also looked very good. Tough matchup for Milwaukee, and I know their offense has been on fire. So Adames, Hoskins has been good. Yelich got hurt, so we don't know. I don't know that he was put on the IL if he's just day-to-day right now, but Yelich is banged up, and we'll see what happens with Chiriot. You got Chiriot and Jackson Merrill going in, I guess, head-to-head. The 20-year-old rookies this week, so I'm sure we'll hear a little bit of buzz about that. New York, on paper, does not have a good matchup. They're going to face Bassett, Kikuchi, and Gossman, but the Yankees own Gossman, and Gossman has pitched terrible. So I would not be surprised if Gossman's start gets bumped. Just putting that out there. I would not be surprised if Gossman's start gets bumped. I would definitely not use him this week because, well, he hasn't pitched very well. The Yankees own him, and I think his start might get skipped or at least bumped, if not skipped. Yankees have tough matchup though for sure. And then the Nationals, you're probably not playing any Nationals anyway, but you definitely aren't this week. So Lane Thomas, who was just getting warmed up, right? Lane Thomas and CJ Abrams probably going to sit the bench this week because you're facing Glasnow and Yamamoto. They were scheduled to have Miller on this part of the rotation, but he's on the IL right now. So they have not announced, the Dodgers have not announced who's going to start in his spot. So, look at that. 12 minutes. Okay, let me jump in. I know there's a couple questions here, a couple comments. DJ, always great to see you, man. Appreciate it. If you are in here and you're checking it out, go ahead and pound that like button on your way out. Go ahead and send any feedback on Twitter at SoRareAces. You can always find me on Discord at AceOut as well. Otherwise, I'm just going to run through with any comments, any questions, and be done with it. And that way you guys can hopefully get your rewards before game lock and have great luck with your rewards and also put some solid lineups together. Okay, let's see. DJ, I see you. Harper needs to wake up. He got real hot, and then all of a sudden it was like he used it all up in one game when he had 3 home runs. Harper and Julio Rodriguez. Let's see. Aaron, by the way, Aaron, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Harper and Julio Rodriguez. I think the Phillies hitters will have a good week versus Colorado. Absolutely. There's no reason why the Phillies hitters shouldn't have a good week against Colorado. Now, normally, Normally, I have a lot more to say, just baseball talk in general with you guys. Every other weekend, my girlfriend visits, and I don't watch as much baseball. Not to say I didn't watch some baseball this weekend, but I don't watch as much, so I don't have lots of opinions about things. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. Oh, it's also 10:30 here, 1:30 East Coast time. So I'm going to wrap this up, and you guys can hit me up on social if you have any questions. Really hope the cheat sheet helps. Keep in mind, I'm not here to tell you who to start. All I am here to do is to share the tool that I create, that I use on my lineups, and empower you to be able to use it to make your own decisions on who you want to start. It's that simple. But I'm not here to tell you to start one guy over the other. It's really up to you. It depends on what you're trying to do. There are going to be certain guys that have high floors, that have high ceilings and low floors, high risk, low risk, those type of things. So I want you to be able to make those decisions. But if you don't have time to do a deep dive on research, this will allow you to be able to be your cheat sheet, to take a look at it, figure out there's two guys that are pretty close. Who do I want to start? And that way you can make that decision. So anyway, hope you guys had a great game week on the weekend. Hope your rewards are fantastic tomorrow. I look forward to hearing from you, seeing your rewards, and seeing your lineups as we get into lock. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great evening. See ya.